Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, we take a look at the May 2025 sewing challenges. And in the background, I will have playing this fabric haul that I actually did a while ago. And then after that, I'll show you the last 10 minutes of this video are me doing the beading for finally finished my LaCroix jacket. So I'm very happy about that. I've still got the back bit to do, the design element on the back, but the most of the beading is done. Anyway, let's do this.
It's perfect. Perfect jacket.
So before we get into the sewing challenges, all this information, I'm getting it from a blog post done by the lovely people at Stash Hub. So I'll put a link in the description box below to the actual blog post on their website, but you can also download their app and it helps you organize your fabric stash. But they also have a section for sewing challenges for each month, so you can just look at that. And as I said, I filmed this fabric haul a long time ago. These were all the fabrics that I bought in the December-January sales, and I just they were just so reduced. It was ridiculous. So it looks like a lot of fabric, but I could have bought like a couple of yards of tweed, expensive tweed with all the money. That's it. So I ended up getting all these instead. So I've got enough fabric to last me for all my makes all year. Anyway, so I'm showing you 5, and then I divided them into colour lots. So I'm showing you my 5 of the aqua ones in this. And this one's adorable. It's got pineapples and flamingos. It's just so weird and impractical, but I'm going to make 2 little jackets out of it. One I'll probably do with those hanging down bits, but the other one I'll probably put beads dotted in between. See how the tropical fruit and the flamingos are sort of in little islands? I'll probably put aqua beads in between them. And yeah, it was just so frivolous and fun that I thought I should get. So I only bought 1 yard of each of these 5 fabrics. Anyway, on to the sewing challenges. Oh, and it has toucans in there. Have you ever seen on Instagram every now and again this little bit of footage of a baby toucan goes viral because they look like a Muppet Baby version of a toucan. They are just the cutest. Anyway, so May 2025 sewing challenges. First up, we have a cancer awareness one for melanoma and skin cancer awareness month. So it's called Sew Skin Summer, which is, I don't know. I grew up in Australia, so we would never call it skin cancer awareness. Was just called skin cancer awareness. They're very obvious about it because it's the place where the hole in the ozone layer is, and everyone has to be very aware about skin cancer because they're not actually from that place. Apart from 3% of the population is Indigenous, but everyone else is so completely not from there. So anyway, this is a British one, and you make something that's cover up or a coverall for summer. So light fabrics, but it will cover your skin, that sort of thing. And it's just like a standard Instagram challenge. Oh, actually, they have this other blog post about Instagram challenges, and it just goes through it because they sort of just gloss over it all the time. So if you want the step-by-step on how to, you start an Instagram account, how to find people to follow, and how to do each of the competitions, you basically just have an account, start the account, or get someone to start an account for you, and well, don't do that. You shouldn't give other people your passwords, but you know what I mean. You start an Instagram account and start following some people, and then you just post the things that you sew before the end of the challenge, and use the hashtag and whatever else you have to say in your post. And that's how you enter all the competitions, and you can win some of the prizes. All the small businesses like the pattern companies, the fabric companies, and they all do different competitions, and that's how you enter and that's how you win. I don't know why I bought this fabric. I think what it was only $3 a yard, and I needed $3 more to get free shipping. So I think that's why I bought bought a yard of this fabric, and here I am valiantly trying to match some of my beads to it, and they do match, but I just think I'd rather use these beads on something else, like a tweed or a metallic fabric. They just look much more bling. I don't think they'll look bling on this. I think I'll end up using this fabric as a layer in a layer cake dress. And the unicorn fabric before this one, yes, I did years ago buy 1 yard of unicorn fabric, and I made a vintage dress that was aqua, and then at the bottom of the dress I put in a panel of unicorns. It's the cutest thing. And then I saw the fabric, they still had, like in the clearance section, they still had it, so I bought a yard of it so I can make a bolero or 2 jackets to match. And then this pineapple one is actually a cotton canvas, so it's a bit thicker. So I guess I could make a tote bag out of it or something like that. But I think we all know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to make 2 boleros, and I'm going to bead one with, I've actually got beads in the shape of pineapples, so I could put them in it, or I could do one with green and one with golds or aqua. I don't know. I've only got 1 yard, so I can only make 2 jackets at the absolute most. So I'll have to try to, it's so much fun having 2 jackets and being able to try 2 different types of beading. It's so much fun, especially since they're tiny. So I can actually have, it doesn't take, like when you make a Chanel jacket, they are big. So beading them takes a long time, whereas these teensy tiny boleros, they still take time to bead, but much less. Anyway, next sewing challenge is Me Made May. My next video, so the Thursday video, is going to be a whole video on Me Made May, because it's probably the most popular sewing challenge. It's more like a styling challenge than a sewing one. So if you desperately want to know all the details, you can go on Instagram and Sozo, so just those 4 letters, Sozo blog. If you just look up her, and she's the one who runs the challenge, and she's got these, it's just a few steps. So basically you just look at your Me Made wardrobe or your whole wardrobe, and you just, what most people do for Me Made May is they wear outfits including like every single day something that they made, even if it's just a scrunchie or a sash or a tie or a bag that they made. And or if you've made clothes, then you try and wear everything that you've made just in different outfits, styled in different ways. So the idea is to push yourself a little bit, and well, it's called a challenge, so that you gather more and write down everything each day, like this was fun but it felt a bit awkward, this was really comfortable, much more comfortable than I thought it would be, that sort of thing, or I've got too many dresses, I should really make some trousers, just sort of things like that. As you go, just take notes. Then in June you sort of look through all your notes and you just sort of decide what you're going to make for the rest of the year based on that information, or the rest of the season, and then you can do the same again for autumn winter period. So I think it's a really good idea. And then there are additional Me Made May competitions. So the original Me Made May is a challenge, and there's no prizes or anything. It's just a challenge for you to have a way for you to have a better relationship with your wardrobe and the clothes that you wear. Whereas, and then all these small businesses that they make patterns, like pattern companies and fabric stores, they've decided to have competitions, and you basically take a selfie of yourself in your handmade clothes and post them on a certain day, on Instagram, and use the correct hashtags. And then you might win prizes from each of those small businesses. So I think that's a really cool idea. As I said, description box below. Click on the link to the blog post, and there's just a whole list and there's links. So you just click on each of them and you can see what they sell, what you have to use in your post to be eligible for each of the competitions, if that's what you want to do. And then next we have ITH 30. It's just a challenge where you sew for 30 minutes each day. And I think you try and do that every day for the month. It's for people who just have trouble carving out time to sew. So I think that would be, I don't know, it sounds really frustrating to me, but it's better than, like chipping away at something is better than never doing it at all. So it's good. If you just, it's really frustrating you that you're just not setting enough time for aside for yourself, then I definitely think you should do it. You should always make time for yourself, because people are always going to want more of you than you can physically give. And if they're always going to be unhappy, then you may as well just set aside time for yourself, because at least you're partially happy. But also get rid of declutter your life. You don't need bad people in it. So I've used up all my fabric haul, the first one. So this is the second fabric haul. Look, chameleons. I was going to take out the soundtrack of this, but I left it in because I didn't want to freak you out.
Perfect. Perfect jacket.
Yeah, I say that as well. A lot of people tell me that they say it along with the thing. So do I. Anyway, next we have a slow fashion challenge, and it's for the first half of May. So you can just do it for the second half, because we're already a little bit into May. It's frustrating to me when they start a challenge bang on the first of the month, and that's the first that you're hearing about it, or, a part way into the month you hear about it. I feel like if you're going to do a 14-day challenge, maybe give us the first 14 days of the month to hear about the challenge, and then the second 14 to do it. But, I haven't organised any challenges, so I should just stop being critical. Anyway, so there's a list of things that you can do for each of the days, and you could probably just jump in and start already. And yeah, seems like a really good idea. And then next we have the vintage fashion challenge. And this is another one. If you don't have a massive vintage wardrobe, you could probably just do your regular fashion, and you just want prompts to give you ideas on how to better style what you have. Then you could probably use the prompts to do, like, the first day you just introduce yourself, second day you talk about your style evolution, third day personal history. And then the next ones are just for day 4 you wear reds and oranges, day 5 greens and yellows, 6 blue, 7 pink, 8 purple, 9 metallics. Ooh, that'd be a good one. I could wear my cactus flower jacket. Still haven't lined it, but and 10 is neutrals and black and whites. And yeah, and then the last bit is favourites. So what's your favourite decade? Well, you can just sort of change it to what's your favourite things in your wardrobe, and then style them differently, like your favourite pieces, but style them how you never usually style them. So I think that's a good one. If you want to do Me Made May, but you don't know how to challenge yourself, maybe combining these prompts with you could do that for Me Made May. That would be quite cool. Okay, next we have something called a micro mini sew along. So it's the company is Berry Birdie, sorry. And what you do is there's this thing in quilting, you make a block, but instead of just then making another block and another block and another block, you make just one tiny block or one square with a pattern inside it, and then you just do the edging around it, and you call it a mini quilt. So, I mean, yeah. If you've got dolls and they're cold, it's, I don't know. I think they're cute, but I would rather just make lots of blocks and then sew them together and make an actual big quilt that you can just keep on the sofa or whatever, or put on your bed. If you're lonely when you sew, this is a sew along thing, so it's kind of like a get together, and you make something small because obviously quilts take time. So you can make a small block or a travel bag, a travel tag, or a bookmark, a coaster, a pin cushion, something small, and you're just using up your scraps basically, and you just chat and sew. So that would be good if you like to chat and sew and have that sense of community. I keep forgetting about this floral. I only bought a yard of this one as well. I bought a yard of most of them. You're going to see this red faux leather fabric. I wanted the black faux leather, but because I really enjoyed making the Alpha jacket, which is a sort of olive, dark, sort of antique gold color. In the middle of last year, I made this jacket and with really, really detailed design elements on it. And it was difficult, but it turned out surprisingly well. So I wanted to, in the sales at the end of the year, in the start of the year, I wanted to buy new fabric. And yeah, the red faux leather was so much cheaper than the black. So I ended up getting 3 yards of the red. It's ridiculous. And I got a yard of this. It's sort of like that canvas cotton. So it's a thicker cotton, sort of like a denim or a thin denim. And I'm going to make 2. I mean, I could use all these fabrics except for the chameleon one. That's definitely going to be 2 jackets. But all the rest are quite bright. So I could mix them all together and just make them into a dress. But I think I'm going to use at least half of this fabric to make 1 bolero jacket, possibly 2, and bead them in different ways. Anyway, the next sewing competition is So Much to Give 2025. And I think you should spend a whole month doing free work for other people. Yeah, each their own, I guess. I think people just want your money. They don't want you to make stuff. But I sound terrible. No, when I was young, I had to look after my 2 parents who both had cancer, and they're just not the nicest people. And so I guess I just regret my life's choices. Well, my lack of choices in what I did with my life. But yeah, so actually, there's this American woman that I follow. I think she lives in Oklahoma, and I follow her on Twitter, and she does the most beautiful needlework. It's like cross stitching, but it's all these pieces, and she sells them and then donates all the money to this charity that gives people water, provides water and food. And she is just so completely awesome. Her work is it's exquisite. It's beautiful and it's meaningful. So if you do have spare time, I just think her work is amazing. So one of them is Hind, that little girl, and the next one that I screenshot is from Rifat, and he was a Shakespeare scholar, amongst other things. And yeah, her work is amazing. You should check it out. I'll put a link below to her Twitter, and her bio on Twitter has, you just go to her website from that. But her work is amazing. So if you feel sort of frustrated that you're too far away and you don't have resources to give more than you give, then that might be something really meaningful that you could do. I really don't want to make this about myself, but you're all going to ask. So I'm a victim of long-term stalking. So making things and selling them, the resale market is a bit dodgy and So for me, unfortunately, I would love to do something like this. Absolutely, it would be so meaningful, but all I can do is just donate money, unfortunately. But it's for other people who don't have unwanted attention. I just think this is awesome, something really awesome and meaningful that you could do. So next up we have, this is one of those year-long ones, and they give you a different theme each month. So make a garment a month, and this month's theme is moving May, so activewear, or it can be something that's emotionally moving. So like a really beautiful fabric that you're terrified to work with, or something that if you have grandparents that are still alive or recently passed away and they left you something, or your parent passed away, and something that you've got a lot of emotional attachment to and you're just afraid to wreck it. Maybe now is the time to, or you don't have to use it exactly, but you can plan what you're going to do with it, and make a mock-up, so that way you're not actually touching the precious fabric. but you're still sort of pushing yourself a little further along the journey. So that one is, yeah, I think that one could be interesting. I mean, I don't make activewear, but if you've always been meaning to make yourself bra or leggings or things like that, that would be a good excuse to get started, I suppose. And then next we have My Makes May 25. Gosh, say that one 5 times quickly. So it's just, this one is a competition, and you just do the hashtag on Instagram and post pictures of yourself. And if you're doing Me Made May, the selfie version, you're going to have these pictures anyway. So you just tag a few different people as well, and you get entered in the competition. And that's it for this month's one, but then there's loads of ongoing challenges. I will just rush through these ones. First up, we have Last Sewer Standing. If you stopped buying fabric on or before the 14th of February, and you're just using up your stash, then you can be in Last Sewer Standing. It's kind of like a competition to see who can go the longest without buying new fabric and just using up the stash. Whole 30 yards fabric challenge is the same thing. You use 30 yards of fabric before you buy new stuff. If you see something you love and you buy it, then you have to go back to zero. So even if you've used up 29 yards of fabric and you buy something, then you have to start again from zero, which is quite the challenge. Next, we have Fabric Roulette, where you just go to your stash and sort of close your eyes and pull something out and make something from that. And Two From Stash is where you use 2 fabrics from your stash, as the name suggests, 2 fabrics from your stash each month, and you sort of commit to that. Okay, there are a couple more challenges, but as you can see, I have run out of footage, so now we're eating into the 10 minutes of me beading this jacket. But I mean, spoiler alert, all I do is put, like, I've got a few hundred glass beads and they're all exactly the same. So it's not a huge mystery about what happens. But for the longest time, I bought this tweed because it looks exactly like a vintage Chanel tweed. And originally I did bead it. I was going to bead it, and I did this sample section on the back. And I really love this type of beading. I've used glass seed beads in a sort of dusty pink, which is like one of the colours in the tweed. The camera absolutely hates this tweed because the problem with tweed is it's not one solid colour. It's loads of different colours in there, and it confuses the camera. Anyway, so I love this sample section of beading, but I did not have enough beads. So I had to, unfortunately, take it all off. And then I was like, well, maybe I went through this phase where I made watermelons on everything. Well, I've done 2 watermelons and they turned out awesomely. So is awesomely even a word? Anyway, so I made the 2 watermelon print jackets, and the one where I didn't have enough fabric, that's pink on the back, I did a little standard size watermelon on that, and then I did a gigantic one on the second one, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, I'm going to do a third one. And these are the 2 that I did. And so I did the bad watermelon, and I did it in the colors matching this LaCroix jacket, or vintage Chanel style tweed. So it had beige and dusty pink and antique and sort of these browny orange sequins in there, and it was just a disaster. It didn't work at all. It looked kind of like, if you turn it upside down, it kind of looked more like a pizza than a slice of watermelon. So I was like, okay, we will carefully take this off. And then I have these beads. They're glass and they've got metallic finish over the top. So they're quite heavy. And because they're sunflowers, they're quite flat. So one side is gold and black, and the other side has it's just weird. It's goldy, orangey, pink color, and it wouldn't match anything, but it just happens to match this particular tweed really well. So I was like, maybe I'll do. At first, I thought I was going to, because I've been doing. See that on the left there? I've been doing those hanging down drip beads on lots of cotton, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it on a tweed jacket, but It's just, these are glass beads. They're just that little bit too heavy to do it with. So I decided to just stitch them into the actual tweed. And so I couldn't do too many because these beads they don't look like, they look kind of small, but they're solid glass. And yeah, so they are quite heavy. But I did one row and then I did a second row and I just did half of it. And oh, this is me showing you. So that's an actual vintage Chanel jacket with the crocheted edging. And yes, it is Vanessa Paradis wearing it. So I think this is from the 90s or something. And this is another Chanel from the turn of this century. This is a Chanel from 10-15 years ago. This one is actually made out of tulle, but yeah, so this color is very it's very classically Chanel. And I think I actually show you a Valentino one, which is sort of dusty pink with orange twinges in it. And this color is just so difficult to photograph, but that one's actually pink, but it's a vintage Chanel suit as well. And yeah, oh, this one coming up here, I think this one is actually a Valentino, but because the gold gloves with the dusty pink with the tinge of orange in there, it's sort of got this apricot edge to it. It's just a really difficult color, but I don't know, for some reason I like it. And so to me, it's just such a vintage colour. So when I saw it on tweed, I was just like, oh, this is cool. And this is a LaCroix outfit. And it just reminded me of that as well. I love that outfit. Anyway, so this is the next time. I think that in the night, I finished the second half of the bottom. And I was in two minds. Like, I could have done a third row around the bottom, and perhaps I might still, but the two rows, it's just heavy enough, just. And if I did another row, it would have to be, so then I did 2 rows on the cuffs, which look really good. And so this is me showing you the back again. Yeah, so I like it the way it is. And if I did a third row, the weight-wise, it would be a little bit nicer. But, I mean, these glass beads are already heavier than the gold chain would be on the inside of a traditional Chanel jacket. So, and then, at this point I'm deciding, because on my jackets that I've been working on recently, I do a bit of beading over the shoulders. But you can't, that only really works when you're doing dangly beads, not when you're doing beads straight onto the fabric. So I was like, should I do beads over the shoulders or not? So I decided against it. But I mean, I've left the silk open, so I could, after I've done the design feature on the back, the triangle, I think it's going to be antique gold sequins. Once I've done that, then I can go back over. This took so long to do the neckline, because necklines are round. You sort of have to measure everything out, and like, if you do one row, then it's got to be much tighter, then the next row is got to be much looser. So anyway, I did the bottom row first and then squeezed in the row between that row and the neckline. I squeezed in the second row, but actually looks like the first, but it was the second row. So there we go. And then I was like, should I do more down the center front? And I think it would just, like, I like it, the look of it visually. It looks good without beads on the center there, but it just would have felt funny, because all my tweed jackets, a lot of them have beaded trim on them, and the weight goes round the neck, down the center front, and round the bottom, and it just makes the jacket sit really beautifully, and it never flaps open like other people. When they wear jackets like this, they say they don't like jackets with no buttons because they flap open all the time, whereas when you have just the tiniest weight of the glass beads, it just sits perfectly all the time, and you don't have to mess with your outfit or get distracted or anything like that. So I decided to make them look like they were buttons. Whoopsie. So yeah, that's what I've done with that jacket. I forgot to tell you the last 3 ongoing challenges. There's Make 9. I haven't even started my Make 9 yet, so you can definitely still do Make 9. It's so much fun planning all you like deciding what 9 dream makes would be and what you got to do with them. So I've done loads more work on my 9 different ideas, and I've got like 3 shortlisted 3 ideas for each, so I'm going to make a video about that. And then the next one is Sew 25 in 25, where you spend the whole year, you decide on 25 garments, or that's all you're going to do or whatever, or try and make that many. It's also this other thing where you make only make 5 garments a year, and you only buy 5 things in a year as well. It doesn't like activewear and underwear don't count, but other things. So yeah, there's a couple of different projects. And the last one is the virtual sewing room, which is where you go online and chat to other people while you sew, which is supposed to keep you accountable. I don't know. I think I'd get distracted. Anyway, that is it for this video. So once again, there is a link in the description box below if you want any details on any of these sewing challenges or competitions. The link is to their blog post on the actual website, but you can also just look them up on Instagram or download the app. Not sponsored, just they gather all that information every month, so I feel like I definitely need to credit them. And I finished a jacket. I made this jacket so many years ago, and it's finally finished. Well, I have to do the detail on the back. When I showed you the painting before, I was like, well, I could write basic human rights on the back and do that bullet hole with the blood coming out of it, but I think I'm just going to do a triangle on the back. Pretty sure. Or I've got lots of different, like, one of my Paris jackets, I'm going to write Vive la Revolution on the back and things like that. So I've got about 20 different things and flags and different things. So yeah, but I think this one will just be antique gold sequins in a triangle shape. So yeah, I'm so glad that these beads are just so unusual, and so is this tweed really, and I think it's much more subtle than a lot of the jackets I've been working on recently, but I really like it. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope you've been inspired to do some challenges, sewing challenges or competitions, or just sewing in general, or beading. Beading is awesome. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and happy sewing. Now that I've finally shown you these fabric holes, I have to use up the fabric. Well, I mean, I was going to do that anyway. So, yeah, happy sewing.